we ended with here, we raise our voices to talk on behalf of women, gender issues, culture, empowerment, pros and cons, and so on. So today, Professor Jerome Kabachenga, who is the director of the Institute, was held up with office work, but also he said, since there is a gender specialist, why can't Dr. Nema represent me to listen and talk to the young people's discussion on behalf of the Institute? So this is why I'm here. I will not talk so much about what he would have said, because we didn't sit to make an agreement, say this, say that. But while I was here, I noticed issues of affirmative action, the 1.5. There is a history to that. Previously and logically, culturally, women have been left behind, and this is a global issue. So they say, how do we increase the numbers of women globally through the different conferences? It was passed that let there be a way of uplifting the numbers of women in different sectors of life, and education was one of them. What is an affirmative action? Affirmative action is this something that is done, it is temporary. When things are regulated and balanced, then this thing can be waved off. My son here said, is a woman a better doctor? So, when somebody has 17 and this affirmative action is in place, gets 19 and then jumps to the cutoff. Not necessarily because women are better doctors, but there have been few doctors, women, not only doctors, but also in education generally. That's why the 1.5 cuts across. When we have gotten what we want in numbers, that affirmative action may now go to the boys. Who knows? But get it that an affirmative action is something that is put in place to rectify a situation. Once it is done, then it is done. Then I also noticed issues of equality and equity. This has been a very serious argument. Women are not struggling or not even fighting to be equal to men, because this would even be more disastrous. My young daughter there talked of we need to respect the differences in similarities. In similarity, we are all human beings. But these human beings are different. If there is a threat to the family, I'm sure this woman would run and take cover and inform you in the morning that I saw people. So therefore, this is where we need to look at similarities as human beings in need of jobs, but also respect the differences in our humanity. This is a topic that we could discuss, but in the interest of time, I just gave you a hint of similarity and differences of these human beings. But what women are looking for, and what those people that are against discrimination on gender basis are after equity. And equity simply means fairness in treatment these people in respect of their differences. And of course, education is something that we all need. All courses. We have seen women who are doctors, who are engineers, who are architects. So the brains of the woman, necessarily, you know, there are factors that influence this one, the environment, the upbringing, the background, all those. So women should not be demeaned as culturally the way they were. So that brings me to issues of culture. You brought a very good example of kneeling for the Baganda. There is nothing wrong with kneeling for a man if your culture allows it. To understand these things clearly, there is what we call context. context. Don't force a woman to kneel for you if it is not her culture. That will not be good. I'm a Munyankole from Bushenyi. I'm not saying every Munyankole does not kneel. Each culture or each family, there are people in Bushenyi who kneel. But Bushenyi people, like as I said, when I married in Sindro is mixed of Baganda, Bakuchi, like that. You don't greet your father-in-law, then discuss. But me, eventually, they changed to behave like Banyankole or Bushenyi people. The issue of kneeling, I don't know it. And you can't blame me for that. But a Uganda who marries Bushenyi and really wants to kneel, because that is the context in which she grew, then respect her for that. And so issues of context, and when you are trading on the culture, that's why you must be very, very careful. Then there is empowerment. What is empowerment? Empowerment simply means embodying or enabling someone. What we have not been able to do, when you attain a catalyst, you are now able to do that. There is when empowerment becomes a disabling factor. We will not deny that. And there are women who have misused this enabling factor to actually, those are the people that have caused the rejection, the rebellion. But if we are able to do what we were not doing previously, then empowerment is good. And then our sons or brothers would actually appreciate. Now, in this workshop where you are, where we happen to come and share the digital stories, if you are an empowered woman, behave like an empowered woman. The ability, the capability, the capacity that you have achieved through education, through whatever, understand issues of culture very well, understand the knowledge that you have received, let it help you to see, differentiate the wrong from the right, what pleases your husband, what displeases him, but not that education is bad, not that education is bad. It can be bad if you misuse it, but education is an enabler, an empowerment factor, which we should all embrace because it has carried women and men, by the way. There are men who are already empowered in these gender issues. A land woman, a hard-working woman is not a threat, but a blessing to a family. I thank you so much as I invite Dr. Manasseh to come and share with us what education has done to empower a woman in a positive way. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon to you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm invited to discuss a topic which I have never discussed. Whenever we talk of gender equality, there I keep quiet because I don't understand whether it really exists or it's in our mind. However, this session tells us that it's a moment of reality. That whenever we talk of gender issues, actually we should look at them as matters of health. As matters of health. In other words, by definition, health simply is the total well-being of you and me, near and far, which means it brings in environmental concerns, it brings in how you eat, and also it brings in matters of how we relate. So when I bring it from that angle, this aspect of gender, I respect it. It matters because we live with it. In our homes, we have our parents. One parent is a man, another one is a what? A woman. In our homes, you have brothers, you also have sisters. And the network spreads on and on. However, because of the way we have been made to perceive, then sometimes clashes arise. And in this story that we are going to see today, here were the dilemmas, the gender dilemmas, the ethical dilemmas that were confronting a home. And here we find a girl child trying to steer her way through to success. Therefore, I think this is a good story for us to attend. I once again announce that in my background, whenever I stand to meet people, I know how to talk about money. I didn't know that even gender can affect money. You people, if you begin conflicting with gender, you are killing money. So make sure that you pay attention to this talk and also be able to relate back in our experiences how we respond to these challenges. Before we start, I think I want to thank again the organizers of this session, because we have created a forum where we can equitably interact on different topics. And today we are talking about this topic. I wish also to thank Maternal Uganda and Child Health Institute, because they have enabled us to introduce a new methodology in which we refer to as digital storytelling methodology. Here, we don't want to hear hearsays, but instead we want to hear the voice of the voiceless. And this is the power that we are trying to share with you. That the voiceless, through digital storytelling, can raise their voices. And therefore, it becomes an important tool for education, because we want to see whether education can remove gender violence. It can also be a tool for advocacy, research, and also therapy. We have victims in our societies, and these victims may need such stories to raise their hope and also live a better life. So I will ask the technical team to start the process. And as you start the process, I will once again also thank Mike for choosing to be with us in Uganda on such a day. And members, Mike is not a simple person. He's the father of digital storytelling. And you know, he's a balanced gentleman. He moved when he is balanced. So whenever he comes, now there is also Christo. Please welcome again. So these are the technical teams who are behind the modeling and development of this thought. And here, as implementers at Maternal Newborn and Child Health, we are proud to associate with the University of Uganda. Thank you very much. So the title of this story is A Woman I Want to Be. Hey, you want it? Okay. A woman I wanted to be. So in other words, this is a woman who had a dream. But this dream was a mix-up, and it had many roadblocks. But amidst all these roadblocks, this woman mastered the art of going over the humps. The problems, she looked at them as what? As humps. And she should maneuver through, and ultimately, she made it where she is. I think this story gives us hope that despite the challenges we go through as ladies, we can always find our way to our destiny. we should never lose the focus. Okay?
My dream was to become a teacher, not just a housewife. I survived being married off, being after primary 7 at the age of 14, as cultural practices viewed girl-child education wastage of time and resources. My cousins and village mates had married at primary 7 in our entire extended family and village. Although I was determined, I did not perform well, and the pressure of giving me out for marriage at 20 years intensified. I struggled to convince my parents to give me another chance to achieve my dream. With the conviction of my elder siblings that I could make it to the university, I joined an exclusively boys' school, which was the remaining option with the support of the headmaster. All nearby single girls' schools had already registered and submitted their students to the NEP. Mixed students' education was not abnormal in the education system, but having one girl student in exclusively boys' school was socially unacceptable. Born in a family of majority male siblings and studied in a mixed primary school, I did not want this odd situation to block my given opportunity, so I opted to register in this boys' school. The headmaster's decision incited many questions as, what type of a girl is this to be in a purely boys' school? How would the boys relate with her and the implication to their studies? Personally, I was also nervous about how I would spend with the boys in class, in the group discussions, in the dining, and in which dormitory. Despite these questions, I was still determined to handle whatever challenge would come my way. By the end of the year, I was a friend and sister to many classmates and have remained networking as alumni of the exclusively boys' school, which surprises many. This boys' school experience prepared me for yet another encounter during school practice. Most schools near my home area were already fully booked and not willing to take on more student teachers for practice. There being no option, when the 6 male students had come with from the college, we agreed to share one big room that they were given. Then the shocking news of one bearing woman sharing a room with 6 men attracted many people who flocked our premises who found the surprise. One of the people who came to see the brave and valiant woman became my friend and is now my husband. I'm now not only a teacher, but a senior lecturer at MAST, where I head gender department. I also give inspirational talk on parenting and family development on the radio. I call upon parents and girls outside there to fight hard, remain focused, and achieve your dreams.
So you can clap again for the one who told the story. You can clap again for her. I think this is a moving story for the girl child. It simply also confirms that the worries we have not just come, they have been there. They are not new, but we live through them as she lived through them. So the first question we want to respond to is, what resonates with you in the story? When you listen to this story, what comes to your mind? What outstanding issues come to our minds? have some responses. When you listen to this story, what resonates in your mind?
I do not understand how this woman managed to live in a room of boys, but maybe it would be nice trying it out. I mean, that just out, really try that out. So I think it is something that is so surprising. Maybe boys can also learn that it is okay to live in a room with girls without doing anything to them.
You see? That is one roadblock the storyteller had to go through. Living in a boys' dormitory. I don't know how she did it also. But because she's here, we believe she did what? She lived through it. Okay, any other?
Yes, another thing that resonates with me is the idea of a woman living in a men's world. When she talks about how she had to, show up in a school and study a course when it's only men around. As a woman in science, it's reality. It's really difficult to come as a woman and be like I'm an engineer or I'm a pharmacist or I'm this. Or even women in debates, like men are learn to have logic and they learn to debate, and so as a woman, you just cry and be emotional, roll your eyes and yeah.
Okay. So in Kenya, she has lived through it in a different environment, living through this world. Any other? What resonates in your mind? Yes, Monica belongs to Smart 24 TV. They have joined us here and they are taking a record of this procession.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Thank you very much, Doctor. It's still, the story still brings us back to the notion of women empowerment. It calls upon boys to create an enabling environment for the female gender. Empowerment does not mean that we want to be on the same level with your boys, no. But please create an enabling environment the same way our country is moving on right now. You can see that the vice president right now is a lady, the prime minister is a lady, but they can't perform alone. They need empowerment. So I believe Dr. Mrembe was empowered by these boys that she found in school, by the boys she lived with in the same room, and not doing anything, but simply creating an enabling environment for her to achieve her dreams. Thank you.
We men are the ones who must create an enabling environment. The young boys in that school created an enabling environment for her to stay in the boys' dormitory. Okay?
Thank you very much. The story of that successful woman gives us a clue for someone who is a lady trying to survive in a male chauvinism society. A male lady going to study alone with the males as the only woman in school. I don't know if she was the only girl who contested, but what does that give us? In every condition that we undergo, accept your status and go with the vision of what you want. That's what I've learned from the story from the doctor. Thank you.
Comments about the home itself where she was coming from. Right? The home, you're using it. Yeah, what resonates? What resonated with you in the story? Yes, sir.
Thank you. For me, it's more of an observation that has informed this submission. First of all, I want to say it here that females and males are different, but on average, males are more advantaged than females. But then, to also add that there is no room for self-pity. Yes, you're supposed to fight your way through. There is no room for self-pity that I'm a woman. Therefore, since this is an environment with gentlemen are going to expect them to beat me or to give me a head start. Like we saw in her story, she continued to fight her way. And this also applies to people who come from, let's say, poor backgrounds, people who have no parents. These stories, hers is more about gender, but there are people who come from, who are orphans, who have no parents. There are people who are poor, but in all cases, you are supposed to fight your way through and prove a point, and people will accept you. So for me, that's what I took from the story.
Okay, self-pity is the beginning of laziness. So please, self-pity is one more heart. I think we shall end with him.
Okay. From the story of the woman, I think she was more determined, because we all believe that history is never shaped by cowards. She was more determined. It's not all about men to give her a conducive or enabling environment. That was not an issue. So the lady was determined to pursue her dreams.
Okay, so let's also get there. Next to you. And I think lastly we shall end with that one.
Thank you very much. From the story, I understand that there never be such a level ground. I believe that she has transcended into a lady that will offer opportunity to both men and women. Therefore, she will generate an environment where she has men who understand they have to respect women. I'm looking at the pedagogical outcome of her getting education and becoming the lecturer and handling all the two sexes. She will integrate people in the society of which both males and females are oriented towards achieving the best of themselves. Thank you.
Thank you. So that last one.
Yes, thank you so much. So, for me, what resonates with me is the extent to which things have changed. You see, from her story and from the pictures we're seeing, and maybe from how far she has gone, you realize that today things are no longer working that way. Yeah? Today, it is not often that we have people getting in situations where they need to choose to be in a boys' single school. Yeah? So, this is especially the ladies in the building, that times have changed, and to a bigger extent, there is not supposed to be an excuse for a lady not to succeed. In times when people are saying we need numbers, that we need to bring up more ladies so that they get on board and you don't do A, B, C, and D. So there isn't supposed to be any excuse for our ladies, our friends here, to get where she has gotten. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So I think you can see from the title, the woman I wanted, the woman I wanted to be. We need to have a purpose-led life. In this life, there are many stereotypes, there are many biases, there are many challenges. But if we don't have a purpose, then we are likely to lose our way. I may not add beyond this, but if one of my team members has a compliment, feel free. Is there any compliment from my team? We move to the next question. Any compliment from my team? Okay. So, do issues similar to those highlighted in the shared story happen in our community? We would like to hear some of the examples on the side. Do these things happen? Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. Such issues do happen in our society. Like in the shared story, it was just a case where women are forced into marriage. Recently, we are having situations where you find that some cultural practices are still
Acting and functioning in the world. When you go to areas like around Sebei, those cultural practices are still going on. So we are still having those situations. They have been happening and they are still happening. Thank you.
So forced marriages still exist in our home settings. And we saw how she overcame it. Okay, any other? There's a lady here. I wish I could know your names.
Thank you. This is Anita from Uganda University. assure you this story is a replica of our societies. Because in a story I've observed that this lady was from a poor family, and in this case, some of us were from those humble families. So I conclude saying that the story is a replica to our community. Thank you. Yes, I'm a victim of this.
Please, briefly tell us. You can share?
Yes, I'm from Bushen district.
Yes.
And it's not that my family is all that very rich. It's not rich. But we've struggled so hard. We've gone to schools asking for bursaries, and finally we are here and we are going to succeed in future. That's all I can share. Thank you.
Thank you. So, challenges are happening in our home, and they begin with poverty. That's what she's saying. They are associated with poverty.
Thank you. My name is David from Barrow University. Mine is more of a testimony to how education actually works. In my primary school was in a single boys school, in Uganda primary school. But some of the staff members had children. And you know, if you're staff member with a child, you can still start in the school to teach. But unfortunately, the man had no daughter. And it was a single boys school. However, when she joined us for P1, she came and had a small talk with us and told us, before she entered class, she was going to teach us, and told us, boys, learn to be men. Prepare yourselves on how to treat ladies. He gave us a talk about treating ladies in P1. And so we studied with this girl all the way from P1 to P7. And she was so comfortable with us that she wasn't as challenged as the senior lecturer on those grounds that the boys are a bit hostile and those sort of things. Because with sensitization, we were able to treat her a bit better. Okay, she faced challenges in the sense that other classes and other boys used to disturb her needs. They come and speak at her and make fun of her. And she was developing puberty, they started making fun of her. Her changes. But because we had been told on how to treat ladies, some of the other boys in our class would come to defend her. And so right now, she's actually in university. She was able to finish P7, she scored very high. Now she's attending medicine.
I think the main take home in that is that we need to be conscious of the ladies around us. Okay? Men, we need to be more conscious of the ladies around us and treat them with courtesy. You know, you men, you can't multiply. Ladies multiply. Yeah? They are the multiplier factor. Yeah? They have that advantage. Okay? Okay, let's see this lady. Share your experience. Share.
I'm going to share from an experience of an activist for women. You know, for so long, and I think from about 2 generations ago, women have been fighting for different things. And here we are, young women in our generation, who are very passionate about how then we can transition from the challenges that we face in our community. And for me, I feel like the men should stand up. And the things that the generation of our parents did to overcome the challenges they were going through were different. And we are in a generation that is operating differently as well. But we have, you find that many of the communities or the programs that are trying to make mention of how they can overcome challenges that women are going through do not relate exactly with what we are facing, but also with, the connection, the intergenerational connection of the different generations and our generations are now different. So you find that some of these challenges are connected with how people have been raised. You get, and that's why you find you can go in a community, let's say Karamoja, and you're trying to implement something in a community that has totally been raised to believe something else. So they cannot relate with you. So for me, I feel like some of these challenges, like let's say that FGM. Some of these women are gatekeepers of the challenges that we are facing. They support FGM. So how then do we convince them that, in your culture it might be right, but on the health of a girl or the challenges that a girl is facing in the community, it's not right.
Okay.
So that how we approach the challenges has been totally wrong. We need to approach them from a point of their understanding for them to adapt.
So culture imposes stereotypes upon us. I think that is the main message. The last person.
Thank you so much.
Be brief.
According to her story, the things that happen, they are still existing. For example, I myself am an example. I have a school where I teach, and I find myself I'm the only female teacher in the staff room. But it is according to society. But I feel comfortable when I'm with them in the staff room. They don't have any problem with me, and I don't have any challenge with them. And another thing is poverty it is still existing. For example, I'm still an example. Me myself, I grew up. I'm from a family, a poor family. My dad does not have money, does not have enough money, but he tried very hard. He's still trying to educate. Mostly he's focusing on a girl child. He had only 2 girls, but all of us are educated. My elder sister is a midwife, and I'm a teacher. I'm still pursuing. I'm on my degree. And another thing, poverty it is still existing because another thing is arranged marriages that are still existing. I'm going to give you an example. When I was in my vacation of senior four, I faced a challenge. When exams came back, my dad had not enough money to take me back to school. So I had first sit for the whole of first term senior 5. But for him, he wanted me to join these institutions which teach primary teachers. That my dream was to become a lawyer, or if I'm to become a teacher, I become a secondary teacher. So I refused. I said, no, I'm not going to go to that institution. I will remain home. Then I'll try hard. I helped my dad to look for money so that I can go back to high school. I remained at home for the whole of first term senior 5, but during that period, I faced a lot of challenges. I was forced to want to get married at a very little age, but I refused totally because I never believed in such, because I know that marriages, there are very many problems. So I decided to be patient, and I waited. I also looked for some job. I worked, I got some money, I contributed. I surprised my dad for the second term of senior 5. I went to school, I got the admission, I paid my school fees. Then after paying my school fees, I went and told him. He said, wow, okay, I will pay for it. Okay. That's how I survived. I was actually going to get married.
Yes. A woman she wanted to be. You remember, you see? A woman she wanted to be. Now she is. She's about to be a lawyer. Okay, our last question, have 5 more minutes, is what do we learn from this story? And what can we do in our community to address issues highlighted in the shared story? This time I will start from behind and down. So we start with the ladies in their day. Ladies first.
Thank you very much, Doctor. My name is Florence from University of St. Joseph Mara. What I learned from this story, I'll just be very brief. Personally, when I completed Form 4, I'm a double orphan. So, my guardians were not really seeing the impact of me going to A4 or advanced institution. So they told me to go and branch to do was harassing me sexually because I'm a secretary, and then I have to perform all the duties of being a secretary. It was never in my mind. My view was always on becoming a lawyer or a social worker. Why? Because I'm a double orphan. I've been helped by people who are not even my relatives. So I feel that becoming either a social worker or a lawyer so that I can help those people who are always harassed or neglected in the society. So I was looking at social work specifically because this is where we find the needy, the children that are neglected, the orphans. So I learned from this story that regardless of her background, she did not lose her focus, which is kind of connected to mine.
Yes. Whose focus? What can we do? What can we do in our maybe to another person? What can we do in our community?
My name is Mesika Daniel from Mountains of the Moon University. What we can do for our community, we can first of all act as change makers. For example, if you consider her story, after passing through all that, now she is here inspiring us. So likewise, we can go to our community after being successful. Also, do some empowerment. Also, help other people to reach where we are. We can inspire them and then live by examples.
Okay, live by example, inspire others.
My name is Professor Chile. I started from Must. And from the highlighted story, I think what we need to do is to go into the villages, the areas where we come from, tell the people, tell them what they should be doing. Because as a man, it won't help me to marry someone who won't provide something to the table. That's the fact. If a lady that they are marrying off at the age of 14 cannot bring something to the table, then I don't think I'll marry her.
Okay, let's listen to the lady. What can we do?
My name is Caroline Sata from Uganda University. What I learned from the story, one is to be determined and knowing what I want. Then to the community, what should we do to the community? It's to go back at local level or to the village level or to in the community and we address these people, especially the youth, not to lose hope, not to say I'm afraid or I'm poor or I'm coming from a poor background or a family, so I cannot manage. We encourage them, however much they face many challenges or they come from poor families and whatever. They should not lose hope. They should endure the sufferings until they reach what they want. Thank you.
We are going to give people with the word. What can we do?
Thank you for giving me this one more chance. Now, something I have to say is that when people get successful after passing through painful stories, most of them tend to be quiet, just because they know when they tell the community of what they passed through, perhaps the community may laugh at them. So the word I have to them is that when you pass through a painful environment, don't share it alone. Share it with the community such that themselves can know that they are not the only suffering people around and get motivated, hoping that if somebody did something else, themselves can also do it and get successful. Thank you.
Thank you very much. For me, what I've learned from this story is we should identify the animal that we are hunting for. For example, the lady identified, set the goal that she was fighting for and was determined to struggle hard and get it. Another one is we shouldn't be slaves of cultures. Like in their culture, other girls were getting married when they were still very young. But for her, because she has set the goal, she worked so hard and never became a slave of the culture that they must get married at this age, and that's why she succeeded.
Okay, so here we are. We may not have all the answers, but we are leaving these questions to inspire us and think through how we can leave this world a better place. Ladies and gentlemen, this is how we facilitate this process of digital storytelling. In other words, it helps us deliver the message in the shortest possible time and share the experiences of others. We are blessed that the storyteller is in our midst, and we are equally grateful to the sponsors who have enabled this project to be here. Yes, please.
Thank you for the comments that you've given. Actually, another point that made me survive were the family support. For instance, if the parents had insisted with the conviction that this is the way to go, so family support is also very pertinent, although we have had some people who are total orphans, but there are other people, social people who come in to support. And my family was average. That's why my father looked for a school that had not registered and said, this is the school. He was somebody who didn't go to school, but he loved education and he had some money. So to say, he wasn't a poor man. So parenting, some children, some girls, fear to come and front the parents to say, no, I'm not going to do this. Therefore, in the role of parenting, make your children your friends. Say no. By the time you say, I'm not going to do this, there is some relationship. Finally, on the last question, how can we address this to the community? You have seen in the last pictures the radio programs. That is what I do. I used to go to Vision Radio every morning to talk. This is a radio that goes to northern parts of Tanzania, Karagwe, the whole of this western region, and people would phone in, and actually that's how I did my PhD, with the women's empowerment and decision making and what it implies. Then people would talk, having organized interviews, focus group discussions, cross-check and examine what we have gotten. Then people would share, and then I would make it the topical issues, and then people phone in. These days, I go to Radio Maria every last Thursday of every week, because the topical issues of parenting, issues of education, they are provided airtime, where I go and talk, the youth, the parents, and life goes on. As somebody said, you cannot keep quiet, having realized that there is a problem. It's good you say this culture, this practice still exists, but together we can reduce it, but with the support of the women themselves, also coming out boldly to show your talents, your skills, even when you are still young, helps a lot. So this piece of looking down when a boy is talking to you, yeah, you know, somebody talks of rolling eyes and crying, self-pity, and that thing will not work. Finally, the boys that I stayed with, they were 6, I was the 7th in the hostel as student teachers. Nobody used to say, now Nema, what is it? What are you saying? Everybody was actually saying, this is a daring woman. But again, that did not stop. The man who came also to see who is this daring woman became my husband. Up to now, we are still living together. Harmoniously. He did not say, this is a dangerous woman. How do I manage this one? Those of you who come from Barara, you have seen us, you have seen him. It has not stopped us from living together. So be bold. Don't fear that this man is going to fear me. Marriage is God's blessing. You don't shy off and think that the softness will land you in a better place. It might throw you in a very dangerous place. Be bold and clear in what you want. Actually, in the evening, when we would leave classrooms, here, this is when we were still at school practice. These old dormitories, which were not currently used, that's how we used our to tie the curtains, then we sleep there. And in the evening, then we would actually all go outside in the compound where there is no light. The light would be this side. We shower, and they would make sure we come back to the rooms when I had finished. So the protection they gave me, as somebody said, those people who are not in your class would be wondering, how is this guy managing with this boy? Yeah, for even 6 boys, nobody can risk to say. Everybody wanted to give the protection that was required.
So thank you, and please let's take that message. We should all get an enabling environment. Thank you, the debate society, and thank you, members, for listening to us.
I do not think that's loud enough, considering that much better, thank you. Our guests, we are really honored, and we are so say bye to our guests. Thank you.
Thank you, Yamutaza. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Maureen Kahima. I'm the Deputy Dean of Students at Barra University. I wish to thank my senior colleagues who are here for making this day more colorful. Because if they are big students alone, they would think, does this university have staff? So thank you for being here. I also want to welcome you to Barra University, for all the institutions that have participated in this debate. You've made the day happen. I also want to thank the debating societies. I know us as a debating society. Now I see Western Uganda Debate Society. So all the debating societies, thank you for making this happen, and especially for the topic of the girl-child education. Of course, I listened in as well about affirmative action, but honestly, if we are able to do a head count, I don't know who are the majority. Are they the men or the women? The females are the majority today. Wow. That would be the first time it happens. But if we go back to our class, the lecture rooms, classes, you still find in most classes there are more boys than girls. So even with the affirmative action, they are not yet there, especially the science-based programs. There's a time here at Mass we had one girl in the whole of, it was still medicine. In the whole medical class, there was only one girl. I don't know where she was sleeping because I was not in the staff here. I don't know how she survived, but she studied medicine 5 years and completed her program. So it's possible to study in an environment where you are alone and still be successful. So the numbers are not yet there where we will be comfortable. I also want to thank Healthy Child Uganda for supporting this cause, for supporting us as an institution. Yes, you're one of us, but as a department of students, when students come to us with their activities, very exciting activities, but our arms are tied and we can't help much. So when you come in and partner with us, we cannot take that for granted. Just a few comments and I end my remarks. need more women getting empowered. Personally, I also grew up in a family where we are more girls than boys. But my father had received a bit of education, and my mother too. So for us, being educated was not a problem, unless you didn't want. So you had to go to school. My father would pay school fees on the first day of school, so there was no excuse. But of course, the challenges were there. Being more girls than boys, I think my father was already empowered. The boy did not get preferential treatment. For my mother, we would all do house chores, including peeling and cooking. So my brother who follows me would actually have his turn of doing house chores. And we grew up, and we remained close as siblings because of that. So it is important for women to be empowered. Like this theme of this year's Women's Day, embrace equity. We need equity, we need equitable solutions so that we can all be equal in the long run. Because equality is the goal, but how do we get to equality? And my other remark is that empowering women should not disempower men. Because men are already empowered. Naturally, historically, religiously, you have all the opportunities. So one woman getting empowered should not really cause disharmony. Instead, we should embrace and get more women on board. I liked what the young man said there, that if you get an educated woman and they are bringing something to the table, why not? It makes work easier, it makes life easier. So let's contribute and have harmonious living. I also learned from the digital story. I admired your parents. I wouldn't imagine my parents dropping me in a boys' school. It would have been a tough decision. Because me, I studied exclusively girls' school. I went boys when I went to university. So it would have been tough for my parents. So again, those are parents who need to be recognized and encouraged. So we can all do something. From here, we can all do something. Let's go out and spread the message. Let's go out and be ambassadors that we still need girls getting educated, and especially at institutions of higher learning. I want to thank you. I don't want to take more of your time because I know you still have the debates going on. So I wish to end here and wish you a nice evening and wish you a nice stay at Master. Thank you and may God bless you.
Thank you so much, our dear Deputy. At this very moment, we are going for a quick round of the Masters debate. After that, we shall see how to proceed. Let's organize ourselves group and have this debate. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Are we sleeping already? Okay, so just a quick one. As the judges, we have noticed that the quality of debate that we are getting is not up to the standard that we are expecting. So we are going to show you how debate is done in a summary, really. So what we are going to do is we're going to have a very brief but hopefully enlightening master's debate. If I could have all the judges in the room right now, Prosper, all the judges just come and be here near me. We're going to pick papers and choose who is going to be where. Before I give you your motion, and because you are judges, and I believe that you have debated for so long, I'm going to give you 5 minutes of prep time, 3 minutes of speaking time. Only 1 minute will be protected, the last 2 minutes will not be protected. So, judges, are we all here? I'm going to read out your pairs right now, and you come and you pick your paper and you come and you debate until you get people forth. So we want to see Yeah, if you see the judge who gave you a fourth is doing badly, please just write to me anonymously and we shall act accordingly. But there are no ranks. We just want to make sure we all wake up. After this, in case the link has already been shared, hopefully, you should be able to see the link. There's a link that shows the current team standings, where you are standing right now. We are going to have a debate round, the final preliminary round, and it is going to be a closed round. So because we have already showed you what debate looks like, we're not going to again come back and tell you how you performed. So we believe that after this, you're going to do a very good debate. From that debate, we shall all come back here immediately, and I will have the single pleasure of announcing the breaks for who is going to be part of the finals debate and who the judges will be on that panel. So please look at the tab, and the draws are already out. After this, I'm just going to read the motion, right? Okay, so team A for the judges is going to comprise of Mutuji, Edgar, and Helena. Please stand somewhere, come and pick up a paper. Where is Helena? If Helena is not around, we can have somebody else come and judge. Okay, and then team B is going to have Summary and Augustine. You had already paired, good. Team C is going to have Krista and Andrew. And the last team, which will not rank last, is going to be myself and Prosper. I'm going to have one representative of each team come and pick a paper. Maybe I can be the first and pick my paper. I cannot speak. Please come and speak. So now that you have, can we confirm that all members are here? If you have already picked your motion, please, your position, please sit. Please sit. Government is going to be this side. No, government has to be this. What will be the right-hand side of the judges? This side. Don't worry. Is Helena around? But I think Edgar can iron, really, right? You're going to iron. This is not fair. Okay. 5 minutes of prep time and the motion reads. We're going to just debate something that we've already debated. We just want to show you guys. So the motion is very simple. This house believes that girl child education eradicates gender-based violence. In 5 minutes from now, the Prime Minister will take the floor.
So I'm going to set boundaries in a region or in a country, in an area where gender-based violence is not influenced by culture, where gender-based violence is not influenced by all the other factors that have been mentioned, but is influenced by education. Secondly, I would want to define who is a girl. A girl is a person who has female organs. What can I say? As a vagina. We continue who's a child who has not attained an age of 18. What is education? Education is learning. And in this particular debate, we are focusing on eradicating illiteracy levels in societies. What does eradicate? To remove or to eliminate. What do we mean by gender-based violence? Gender-based violence, these are malicious challenges that are specifically enforced on female individuals. So, what we are focusing upon, we are looking at a scenario as the scope of society, that the reason why we want to affront, as the motion says, for affront culture and education, to eradicate gender-based violence, we are looking at areas where women are not going to school, and as a result, men are exploiting them because women are illiterate of their rights. And we believe when we affront education as a main tool, one, we are achieving the dissemination of information. Two, we are empowering them to get the capability or the capacity to go to these jobs. Because the reason why we feel education, women are not educated. When they are not educated, they are not going to schools. When they don't go to schools, they stay at home and they become rebels, slaves of men. But when we affront the argument of education, one, they are educated. Two, they are advanced or taught about their rights. They also attain the qualifications to attain the jobs that they have. When they go back to this, they get the capacity to occupy offices, to affront their voices. So issues of culture, we are looking at areas where the issue of culture is not a stereo, but the issue of illiteracy levels and exploitation by men because women are not going to school. So that's what we believe as government. We believe that let's educate the child, let them get the literacy levels, let them attain the qualification and the knowledge to know what is good and right, their rights, and also earn the qualifications to go for jobs and compete with men, other than staying home and becoming their slaves. At the end of the day, when literacy levels are at least among the women, they attain qualifications. When they attain qualifications, they attain and occupy positions to affront the voices of women that have not been heard. The issue of culture shouldn't be said in this debate. The issue of other factors, the only thing that we're looking at, we look at education as the only hindrance to girls.
This house believes that girl-child education eradicates gender-based violence. So, Papa, we think that when we are talking about gender-based violence, then almost all other factors must be considered, not necessarily education. So, where Prime Minister sets a debate that does not include any other factor, then it means he's not discussing about gender-based violence. We think he's discussing some other thing that is not reasonable, that is not so engageable, and that is not so calm in today's debate. So what do you pick from the team opening opposition? We think that, one, we bring the question the status quo. And what has been the status quo? We've seen that since 1995, we have continued to have affirmative action. And affirmative action, the girl child education, but still the status quo has failed. Since time immemorial, the girl child has been educated, but still have been facing gender-based violence. Why? We think that other factors have not been considered as to why gender-based violence is occurring. We have seen that the government has considered only education, and now its consideration of education has already failed. So that is why we, as the opening opposition, we think that other factors must be prioritized and must be greatly tackled before any other thing, not necessarily education. The only thing why we are against education is that we cannot do with the status quo anymore, because we have seen that it has had much of its time to fail. Then, Pano, now, what do we pick from the team opening government? They urge that they shall promote dissemination of information. They urge that they shall promote employment. They urge that they shall they shall enable women. Please, and rest. They urge that they shall make women attain positions. But a question comes from the team opening opposition. Yes, you are empowering women. But we've seen that the most empowered women
are the people that are even stealing iron sheets for the needy. So isn't that gender-based violence? You understand? We have seen that the more we have elevated the girl child, the more she feels empowered and the more she acts beyond the boundaries. So panel, that is why we think that for us as the opening opposition, we think that any other factor can be prioritized to eradicate gender-based violence, not necessarily basing ourselves on education. We also think that where they urge that they shall eradicate illiteracy levels, we've seen that it is not education that defines one whether to violate or not. We've seen that it is the moral upset and the moral upbringing of someone. Someone being a PhD holder does not mean that they cannot violate the genders. We have seen that the most educated women are the people that have not even done more. For example, Rebecca Kadaga, who refused.
Where opposition makes a lot of noise, and in a world where opposition ceases to recognize the presence of its government, is a world that we do not operate in. And I think that is not even any different from violence. So, panel, we try to, my Prime Minister made clarity and made mention of, in a world where we are advocating for formal education, it's a world where we cease to recognize the effects that are caused, that gender-based violence come about because of cultures, because of different practices that happen in society. We are advocating for a world where we understand that this, we are trying to bring this debate to centralize around the fact that we can eradicate gender-based violence through education. So we're highlighting why do we think that we still need this. And then they talk about affirmative action. Panel, we recognize that it has been existent. Panel, we recognize that we have achieved a world where women are free to vote, women are free to do all these other things because they have been educated. But panel, they do not make mention of the fact that even in a world where those things are existing, we still have gender-based violence happening. So then why do we advocate? What do we advocate for? Panel, we're trying to tell you that in a world where we still affirmative action is happening, you will find a class in maths where there is only one girl or even none in a science class because there has been a non-incompetent system that is functioning. What do we advocate for? We advocate for a system that is competent enough to make a woman feel, or a girl in school or in a science class, feel like they can still perform just as much as a boy is performing. So, panel, I'm just bringing that as a case in point where they do not realize that even in what the affirmative action that we have been having for generations has not still yielded the results that we look to achieve, right? So, panel, what do we advocate for? When my Prime Minister tried to attain the fact that we need to disseminate information, what did he mean by that? He meant that because there has been a gap, right? There is a gap that is existing, and this gap has not been attained in a world that they have already. We feel if we try to realize that in our world, if we advocate for that, we achieve better results. We come to a ground where I will feel competent enough just as much as a boy would feel. So,
panel, in a world where the government is hallucinating, and they think that they are going to eradicate. Now, the word eradicate means to completely deal away with gender-based violence. And they are not going to cater and factor for the other factors that are contributing to this eradication. I want us to understand, panel, that this education that they're talking about has existed for so many years. In fact, they also concur that this education has existed, but they still have problems. So then why do they still believe what they are believing? Panel, we do not want to be in a world where our government is completely hallucinating. We have every reason, sincerely, to oppose such a belief. Because we have already, wait and I educate you, we have already understood that their belief is completely baseless. On what grounds is it baseless? Number one, we still have problems that are arising from the existence of this girl-child education. In fact, it can be argued, though that's not the matter of this debate, that to us, to some extent, that girl-child education has, wait a minute, you used your time. You used your time and you failed to utilize it. Now, I want you to understand that in some cases, this education of the girl-child has actually caused more problems. That is why we have people waking up and telling us that the iron sheets found themselves in their compounds, because they are educated to a level to which we cannot understand how iron sheets teleport. Furthermore, let's keep calm. I think it is important that a hallucinating government shuts up and listens to their opposition to give them some information. Furthermore, it is pertinent that we understand. You will engage in my last minute. Let me first finish my point. It is also important that we understand that we cannot afford to be as shallow-minded as these people think, that they have already seen evidence that gender-based violence is existing because of other things. The education that they are advocating for has been in existence for so long. Can they kindly justify why they believe it is still going to eradicate the gender-based violence, which has only continued to increase? I want us to understand, panel, that the biggest contributions to gender-based violence in this world today has nothing to do with their education, but has everything else. Yes, I will take the first speaker. The rest of you have nothing to say. Thank you very much. I want you to understand, sir, that in as much as you want to claim that the ratio of boys to girls is important, yes, I'm answering your question. In as much as you want to explain that the ratio of girls to boys is important in the education system, it has to be in line with the statistics of the general population statistics. We're not going to just say that we're going to have more girls than boys. Now, shall we force women to give birth to more girls and more boys? We are not in control of that. So your situation is completely hallucination. You cannot tell me that it's going to work in our world. You have nothing to say. I cannot take any POI. You're going to have time. I hope you state your case and defend it. You're going to speak twice. So, panel, I want us to understand, therefore, that it is very important that we understand that in this debate, we are arguing a belief, and their belief is completely baseless. We cannot agree with it. Thank you so much. I rest my case.
Panel, the opening opposition narrows its case on two things. One, they say, you know what, women stealing iron sheets equates to gender-based violence. We disagree from closing counsel that that can ever equate to gender-based violence. But what was very important in this debate, because to be legislating, you simply come and tell us that, you know what, you guys, this thing is very big and you won't solve it, but then you don't give us what will actually solve it. So that extent. Two, it happens at workplaces. Here's why we think we win. We think what girl-child education does is that it gives more room for women to not necessarily stay home that much and usually as they do currently, but for them to be so much in its spaces like workspaces and etc. What that means, therefore, is, notice we do concede that you don't necessarily solve gender-based violence completely, but at least you've removed it from the sections of home where it's currently more prevalent to easier sections like workplace, right? So we think on that level, we reduce gender-based violence, we only have it in one section. Where is I'm still analyzing now? What else then do we do about the workplaces? We think for the workplaces, Honorable Speaker, there could be other mechanisms. We think, again, girl-child education will still operate. Why? Because the current gender-based violence in workspaces is largely because the women there are either in two categories. One, their entry is so much based on validation of men who connected them, and so they still owe them further. But number two, it's because their consistency there or their stay there is still dependent on male validation. Why? Because it was connection that brought them in most majority of instances, because the guy is going to show you exactly how I win this debate. Very proud to propose.
Resolved, this House believes that girl-child education eradicates gender-based violence. Ladies and gentlemen, what we get from the speaker that was from here, he tells us that he thinks that the best way of actually eradicating gender-based violence is by sending these girls to school, or even boys. And he tells us that he also thinks that that when these girls are sent to school, they will not face the gender-based violence that is at home. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what happens at schools? Now, ladies and gentlemen, we all know that there has been bullying at schools. So we cannot guarantee that that itself is not gender-based violence, because bullying itself, it is a man to a woman or a woman to a man. So we say that gender-based violence is two-sided, like it is from both sides, yeah? So we think that where they say that girls will run away from the violence from homes and go to school, we think it is also problematic, because even at school there is bullying. Now, going forward, what do we get? What do we get from the opening? They tell us that they think that the education, it's the girl-child education itself is going to eradicate this gender-based violence, because maybe it is going to create awareness, or even whatever they said. But now look at the setting of that education itself. What do we have? Let's say even in our schools, normally at our schools we shall have the teachers that are actually culprits, or even the teachers that believe that maybe gender-based violence is the best thing to do, you understand? Because maybe they think that men are superior. Let's say the teachers are men, they will teach their students to be that, right? So going on the education system still, we see in this kind of education setting that we have, there is a kind of syllabus. So we do not think that that syllabus specifically caters for that gender-based violence, right? So we think that when they say that education is the best way to eradicate this gender-based violence is right. So going forward, we see the parents' domination that will come in when these people maybe have gone to school and maybe are able to get a little bit of that kind of education about, gender-based violence. Now, what happens? They will teach you about emancipation and all that. And when you go back home, you will meet your parents who believe that actually men are better than women, or even men are supposed to rule women, right? So we think that the parents' domination itself needs to be catered for. So as the closing opposition, what do we tell you? We think that to eradicate this gender-based violence, there is need to actually abolish the bad cultures and the bad, beliefs that people have amongst themselves. Because in the beginning, we think it is the root cause of that gender-based violence, right? So what do we see in our cultures? First of all, there is that culture where they think that maybe a man makes a lot of money, and so they are supposed to rule over a woman. There is that culture that maybe a woman is, inferior, and so a man is not supposed to, she's not supposed to tell a man what to do, yeah? So we think the main problem here is with the cultures, not even any other thing that they are talking about. So what happens with the cultures and beliefs? We think that it is where people have actually gotten that mindset of maybe because I'm a man, I'm supposed to be better than a woman. Because I'm a man, I'm supposed to do more than a woman. So we think it is just about the eradication of cultures to do away with the gender-based violence, since the beliefs are not themselves fair.
Okay. Guys, what time? I thought this one there's something to engage. I just not iron sheets. So guys, okay, so we get a few things in this debate, right? One, we think our opening government does so well. We think the only problem is that they somehow limit the scope of this discussion to only those sort of scenarios that are caused due to lack of education. And we think what we do, on the other hand, as closing government, we expand it big and broader, and we show you why we tackle gender-based violence both at home and also at work. But we also know for sure that perhaps the one of stopping it at work was not that much satisfactory, right? But we think, even if at work it insists, the fact that the majority instances of GBV happen at homes, and yet education shifts these women from homes to workplaces, we think that's the right step in the right direction, right? But beyond that, we think at workplaces, it's even easier there to solve it. Why? Because there are regulations and rules you can put in place, right? Things which you cannot necessarily impose in people's homes. So that's why we think still with education on all angles we win, and we think on that clash we won. But then why do we think this closing opposition comes with a very funny case? And I think here they should listen. Guys, you need to listen. One, these guys tell us, you know what, these guys are going to face gender-based violence at schools because they're going to be bullied. That gives them a clear difference between bullying and gender-based violence. This debate is not about solving bullying entirely. This debate is particularly about gender-based violence. That is to say violence that is so much targeted because of instances of gender. We think that's most unlikely in schools, even though sort of narratives don't exist. But then they also give us some sort of imagination, which is very lazy, right? They tell us, hey guys, look here. You know what? What if this guy, okay, fine, that education system which works, these guys are there, these kids are there, but then they'll come back home to parents who are used to gender-based violence and all that, right? We don't think that's more likely, because how many times have we had some instances, some people who have gone to school come back to parents and teach them how to use smartphones better? That means that it's possible where children go and get like some good sort of narratives to fight gender-based violence, they could actually equally have their parents condone those good circumstances and practices, and you could have children, just like how they're champions of, technology in their homes, still become champions of ending violence, based on gender. So that means that case was just not substantiated, and we think the analysis is so shallow, and we think it would work even for our regards. Then why do we think we win this debate, only gentlemen? We think this debate is won by us because we tell you categorically why this education we are bringing is not the normalist one, which has always failed, that these guys were talking about, though they didn't have a case. But two, we show you how we solve gender-based violence both from homes and then later at workplaces, where we let alone solve it, because policy can work at workplaces and not necessarily at homes, right? There's no in the law that is so much going to work at home. So we think the best way to push women from there and take them to workplaces where you can easily regulate it, and that exactly is what education does, because it keeps women not from the shackles of just being there to prepare a meal so that you can come and complain that there was no salt and therefore beat them up, but then they're somewhere else adding on money and economy and all that, and therefore we think education surely would be the best way to end violence against gender. Notice these guys don't give us any solution, and that's why they lose.
So actually, in a world where the government thinks that the moment they tackle the education of the country, the world will move well, it is really so much sad, just because we have a lot of things that actually are causing what we are calling gender-based violence. People don't realize. And actually, even the education that you are emphasizing that we need to educate these people and then everything get treated, you're not recognizing the system or the education system that we are having currently. It is something that is characterized by theory. We are hearing issues like, after a person is studying, he will be unemployed, and after getting unemployed, this person will not have no money, and then after having no money, the person is going to end up carrying out GBV. So in a world where we have a government that authoritatively think that the moment they tackle education, everything is going to be superb, then we are just sailing in a sinking boat. First wait. Therefore, what are we advocating for as the opposition bench? We are saying that we actually don't need only education for us to clear this mess. What we need to do is also look at the things that are causing gender-based violence, so that if we clear the education and then we tackle these causes that are also causing the gender-based violence, everything is going to be superb. You did ask that what are they? Let me first answer you. These are the ones. Take example of poverty. Please, I will answer. Once we tackle poverty, then we shall have no people that will be maybe just there fighting against each other. When we tackle issues like ignorance, people will be in the know of what to do, and then we shall not have cases of ignorance of the law. If we tackle people's mindset, and then a person knows what he's doing and the kind of thinking and attitude has changed, this person we feel like will do better. Let me first tell you. No, I'm in my protected time, please. He should even sit down, because actually he's just talking nothing, but just confusing me on what I'm telling him. Therefore, what are we advocating for as Team CG? CO is that we need to look at things that are causing this, before even looking at only education, which you think you people is causing all this. In this, I rest my case. Thank you.
Sincerely, my rights have been violated and I have turned into an iron shit. But anyway, thank you for witnessing the debate. We hope we gave you a run for your money and your minds. And in short, if I had to ask a question to anyone in the house, which side wins the debate? Those who vote that the government side wins the debate, put up your hand, and you're confident government wins. Those who vote that opposition wins the debate, put up your hand, and you're confident. Those who think that the first team was the winner, put up your hand. Those who think that the second team was the winner, put up your hand. Like, I want an immediate response, because the idea is, okay, so the idea behind the reason why we're giving you a master's debate is that we want you to understand that you shouldn't make a debate so obvious, yeah? That at the end of the debate, aside from if you already had preconceived biases that you feel like you're already on proposition or you're already on opposition side, you really have a hard time to decide which team has done better than the other, right? And that's what we expect to see in the next debate round. And we are not going to tell you how you performed in the next debate round. So our goal is that next time when we have a debate of this kind, we have master's debates happening in our rooms, right? I think you've all seen what happens. The room is on tension. You have nothing to oppose about another point, so you only have to talk about iron sheets because you really have nothing else that you can say about what the other team has said. So, I mean, we really want to get that quality of debate. So the draw for the next round has been released. I'm going to hand over to the Master of Ceremony for the next activity. The next time you see me holding this mic, it means that the Prime Minister for the next debate will be starting in the next 10 minutes. And then after that round, we shall just gather here silently and be just happy. Thank God for what you've done. And I will tell you who is going to debate in the finals.
A nice round of applause to our master debaters. I believe that was really outstanding and exemplary. Without wasting more time, let's welcome our Minister of Gender to come and have her presentation before us. Let's have that dealt with immediate effect so that we can move on to the next item on the agenda. Meanwhile, as they do the connections and stuff, allow me recognize the presence of our Prime Minister. He's in the house. Sir, you're most welcome. Let him stand up for recognition. And I think to his right is our beloved Right Honorable Speaker. Sir, could you please stand up for recognition? Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon to you all. My name is Ankunda Patience, and I'm the Minister of Gender and Guidance at Mbarara University. I'd like to take this opportunity to wish all the ladies in the house a happy Women's Day. Yeah, I hope you're having a very good one. So, today, the national theme of Women's Day is actually equal opportunities in education, science, and technology for innovation and a gender equal future. So, I like the argument that they're actually developing girls to be on the same platforms with men, not to be more empowered, but for us to be gender equal. Yeah. So with this innovation, as Bara University, we are going to hold a pad campaign, and maybe you'd ask me why I'm saying this right here, but a wise man once told me that information from one person can be a network to someone else. So maybe this information, someone else can use it to help an entire community out there. But basically, this pad campaign is going to teach us how to make a reusable pad. Like a human being, okay, a normal girl child can make their own sanitary towel so that it can be a sustainable plan. Because you realize we can do reach outs, we give them pads, but then you can't sustain someone by offering. I've also learned that we have to do, there is no room for self-pity. Eh? We have to fight for ourselves. So as girls, we have to fight for ourselves and carry our problems and teach ourselves. Yeah, so for the pad, for making the reusable pad, it's going to be very, very short, like a mini skirt. Yeah. I'll start right away. Yeah, so materials. The beginning, these materials are not exactly what you need, but they're just a bit of it. The template, which is a paper, so that you cut out what you need. For an average pad, you make a length of 11 by 8, yeah? And then you need a scissor to cut out the cloth. You need PV cloth. This is like a polythene, a plastic, but then it's leak-proof, and it doesn't make noise. Yeah, then fleece cloth is like baby towels, like those smooth clothes, yeah. And then cotton, you also need thread and needle, yeah. So, a reusable pad looks something like this. This is an already made one, eh? Yeah, but this was stitched and done. So the clothes I was telling you about, this is the top cloth, yeah? I'd already done the cutout to save time. This is how it will look like. And then the PV cloth looks something like this, yeah? And then these are the soft towels. So for the one that's going to be in contact with the body, it has to be fleece, like it has to be really soft, yeah? So you do that, and then you cut it out into a shape like this. It has to have wings where you put your button and your hole, so that it can form something like this that you can wear and it stays inside, yeah? So basically, this is the first layer, and then this is the inside cotton with your PV to prevent leak proof. You lay it, and then this one is the top layer, yeah, like this layer. So all you do is after cutting them out, yeah, after cutting them out, you have to sew them on the edges, yeah, and then you make a complete pad. And this pad can work up to a year because, yeah, minimum can work up to a year. But then the usage is what I'm going to say. So after you've finished making your complete sanitary towel, after use and it has been stained and everything, you soak it in water for like 5 minutes. Then after that, you come back and you remove the water and you put it in clean water, and then you wash it. And it gives it enough amount to dry. Just put it on the sun and it dries. And then you ensure you keep it in a clean, dry place. And you wait for the next cycle of the month. So why we are advocating for this is that it helps two people. There are actually women out there who are making these pads. I personally know someone from MAST that they are called BB pads, and that's their project. They make them and supply them to underprivileged schools, people who cannot afford pads every month. And then there's also AfriPads. That's very common. It's actually employing millions of people, but these guys use sewing machines. Yeah. So with that, we can develop the society as women, and we can also help a girl child keep in school when it's their time for menstruation. Yeah. Thank you so much.
I'm sorry, I want to ask, have you ever used it before? How does it feel like after 8 hours? Yeah. So I'll give you an example. Reusable pads have been in existence for as long as I started understanding. In lockdown, we had a documentary that that Kanwe Mugume ran in Western Uganda, where girls were exchanging pads for sex. This is a community that has interfaced with reusable pads before. But also, the different communities that I've gone to, out of 10 girls, you find only 2 girls are comfortable with reusable pads. This has not been sustainable, right? But also, the fact that it has not been sustainable, the challenges that come the moment a girl starts menstruating, they are exposed to a lot of challenges around them, but we have not interfaced them well. I don't know, how is it viable that this is going to change? Because so many people are doing reusable pads, and girls are still facing the same challenge that menstruation puts them in. You cannot, if you change your pad after 6 hours, how are you going to wash it if you're in school, if you're in a primary school that has no clean water, or you don't even have access to soap? What is that other element that you guys are putting in to ensure that girls still keep in school even while using reusable pads? Thank you.
Thank you so much. The question I'll answer with this pack. After doing this teaching, we're also going to do a reach out and give them already made reusable pads. So there are 4 in a pack. Someone washes this one as they are doing their normal showering. We're going to visit a boarding school. We checked their latrines, their water sources. They have, but then these are people who can't even afford shoes. So it's really terrible. Like, the situation is bad. Like, someone, we asked them and they said, me, I wear 2 panties when I'm in my periods. And the other one is like, no, me, I have heavy flow, so I just stay in dorm. So there's a situation where they would take something and they would want to do something with their life, but then they have no other option. So we're going to give them a pack of 4. So you wash this one, and then when it's drying, you have 3 others that you're going to use. And then you also learn how to make your own for emergency, and we give them materials that they can readily get. So this is for a situation where someone really has no choice, but they are willing to try and use something that's available and more hygienic. Yeah. No, you change. Desk school. It's a desk school. Yeah, actually the packet comes with a cloth where you keep it. Like, it's like a small packet, but it's polythene. Yeah, you keep a dirty one, then you reach home, you wash, then you wear another one.
I want to know why it's only 2 out of 10 girls use reusable.
I think it's depending on the society where they are. Like, let me say water. If water is a problem now, that becomes very hard for reusables, and it's better for disposables. And for that case, there are disposables that go for about 1,500. So that also works. Okay. Yeah, welcome.
Okay, are all participants aware of their pairings?
I'm going to just read the teams once because we really do not have time. And we already know where the rooms are, I believe. Let us just be as fast as possible.
That draw for round 3 is as follows. Room 1, we shall have Serena Williams opening government, Winnie Mandela opening opposition, Joan of Arc closing government, Wangari Maathai closing opposition. The adjudicators for room 1, we will have the chair being being Priska, and we shall have the panelist being Helena. Room 2, opening government will be Margaret Thatcher, opening opposition Marie Curie, closing government Maya Angelou, closing opposition Ida Lewis. Judges will be Kamjisha Andrew as a chair and Prosper as a panelist. Am I clear? Have all the teams that have read so far known where they're going? Okay, so to room 3, Allen Kajina, OG. Allen Kajina will be OG. Malala will be OO. Kamala Harris will be CG. And Nina Simone will be CO. Okay? Am I clear? The adjudicators will be Mutunjisa Edgar and Augustine. Room 4, Rosa Parks, opening government. Michelle Obama, opening opposition. Sylvia Awori, closing government. Tobia Musan, closing opposition. The judges in that room will be myself and summary. The motion reads, I'm going to read the motion at exactly 5:06. I'm going to read the motion at exactly 5:07. Just so that we understand the difference in this particular round, we are only going to have 4 minutes of speaker time. Please note that a POI is a maximum of 30 seconds. 15 seconds. A POI is a maximum of 15 seconds. Once I read the motion, which I'm going to do in this minute, at exactly 5:14, the Prime Minister will begin speaking. The motion reads, this House believes that affirmative action has outlived its importance. Once again, this House believes that affirmative action has outlived its importance. Prime Minister, in the next 10.
Until the night is over, I wanna hold you so tight, come.
the vibes, I feel the vibes, and I'm the art, you're the only one I'm wanting. Feel the vibes, I feel the vibes, yeah. I feel the vibes, I feel the vibes, and I'm the art, you're the only one I'm wanting. Feel the vibes, I feel the vibes, yeah. Lately you're professional, got my mirror rising, rising. You're professional.
It's been a while. Hoje tu é charingue, hoje tu é charingue. Gambira ba nyani ba we na basire ba kushireke.
Come to the come to the it's our agenda. Come to the come to the I'm in a confession, today I wanna have it. Treating me like extension, give me the thing up.
Girlie, why your back a big around? Are you busted down and make me proud? Maybe that is why I come back again. The dopamine make me do them again. Where the money, it's probably where we did. Said she wanna, she loves to funny kids. Made her suffocate, yeah, holiday. Plug said he's French, so we call him Trezeguet.
Fantastic bitch. She suck my dick, gymnastic on a stick. Whoa. She bust split. Bustin' out, bust the head of a brick. For talking shit. Ball walks with it, walks with a limp. Ding long and then a walking stick. If he's strong with a trig, no more walking for him.
Just because you get nyash, you wanna spend on my current and savings. How you make it come around like Miss Banks? Whatever goes around comes around. Facts you mean, in a bus town. If I'm in a club, then there's pose around. I probably lie when I say my wedding vows. Whatever goes around comes around.
Drip to you, drown chicks. Skip to you, get stuck, then they stick to you and get addicted. Big dick for you, she blew a kiss to me. Little kiss for you, I got my pistol. Piss for you, you think it's gravy, I run up and I'll bisto you. I got the biscuit, I put the Twix on you. I'm in your district, little switch for you. You know we linked up and Hollow got the links for you. Don't get it twisted, I got a little drink for you. I got my gloves on, don't wanna get my prints on you. Be realistic, got a couple gifts for you. It's 50-50 and Hollow got the splits for you. I'm about my business, I got a couple tricks for you. And we got history, that's why I took them risks for you. I hope you miss me.
Just because you get nyash, you wanna spend on my current and savings. How you make it come around like Miss Banks? Whatever goes around comes around. Facts you mean, in a bus town. If I'm in a club, then there's pose around. I probably lie when I say my wedding vows.
Unprotected, then the last minute protected. Okay? Yeah. 15 seconds if you're given up, if you've raised your hand and you've been chosen to give a POI, the maximum 15 seconds. Beyond that, I'll protect my speaker. Prime Minister, here. Hold on a bit.
Affirmative action may be so useful. We don't disagree with the fact that actually affirmative action is so useful. Affirmative action is so useful. But then in the end of the day, the purposes as to why affirmative action was put in place has also outlived its purpose. Affirmative action was put in place to actually encourage the girls that were deep there in the villages to also occupy different institutions. And we've seen that enrollment of girls has actually increased due to affirmative action. And then as team opening government, we want to narrow down the affirmative action to the 1.5 weights that are actually provided to the girls when they are going to a university. And then the special care that is given unto them to make sure that those 1.5 weights are actually attainable for them to get government sponsorship. What is the use of the 1.5 weights? We all know that the responsibility of the weights in this scenario is supposed to be to lead someone to the government. Because at the end of the day, we are looking at the girls that are so marginalized that they cannot afford the cost of living in government institutions or even in private entities. So at the end of the day, these girls are supposed to get those weights so that they can go to public universities and be paid for by the government. But at the end of the day, when a girl cannot raise points that are supposed to take them to the government and they are going to private entities, then they will be marginalized there. So we believe in this context, we are only looking at the top performing girls who are only going to public universities on bursaries of the government. So meaning, in this context of debate, I want to believe that currently the government enrolls 4,000 students to go to the university on government scholarship. And when you add the other 1,000, considering how people are supposed to be marginalized and then considering sports affiliations, that is where we go. But the current population that we had, the girls that were supposed to go to the university that UDSCE were 5,065. So meaning, at the end of the day, even if the affirmative action considered all the girls that actually sat for USCE, girls are not going to go to the government, all of them. And at the end of the day, you believe we have boys that have actually outlived the purpose and have actually beaten girls, even with the 1.5 weights added. So what do you believe as team government? We believe that girls have lived in a competitive environment as per now, where they can come and struggle out with the boys academically. So the main purpose of the affirmative action, which was to bring girls to the villages to come and compete, we see it has outlived its purpose. Why? Because the 1.5 weights are added unto them cannot make all the girls go for government. The 1.5 weights that are added unto them cannot make all the girls go to public universities. So meaning the affirmative action of the 1.5 weights has outlived its purpose of bringing girls from the villages. But then it is so useful. So meaning at the end of the day, we want to look for the alternative that are supposed to bring the 7 girls out of the 10 boys that are always in school. What are these alternatives? We've seen that because they were given the 1.5 weights and a lot of girls were empowered, the Minister of Health was empowered, and such people actually empowering more girls through feminists. They've become role models to different girls in different universities. And as per now, girls have role models that they are looking up into society. I believe that the 7 girls out of the 10 boys that are not in school, if they look up to these role models, they can be able to stand out and go to school. Because the affirmative action, the 1.5 weights, has not been able to remove them from the village. One, they don't have money to access the private university or schools because the affirmative action doesn't work at the high school level. It works at the university. They fail to get the morale of going to a university. So meaning as per now, the only purpose they need mentors to bring them there. So the feminists and actually the civic society. We've seen a lot of civic societies come in play to actually get these girls out of society. We've seen the SOG, the people that are fighting for human rights, the human activists are going to do the role of bringing the 3 girls outside, the 7 girls that are not educated. So meaning if we are to clearly believe that affirmative, because team government is going to come here and try to ask how girls have benefited from the affirmative action, but the role of the affirmative action has been achieved. So meaning the girls that are currently benefiting from the affirmative action are eating a lion's share. So meaning if at the end of the day we look at the girls that are actually benefiting from the lion's share, it's time for us to stop it. And then the human activists shall start playing the duty of bringing the other girls that are in villages. I've never been more proud than to become team opening government. Thank you so much. I rest my case.
This house believes that affirmative action has outlived its importance, and proposition literally comes up and tells you to why they believe that affirmative action has outlived its importance, and they base mainly on the 1.5 weight that is given to the girls when they're joining universities, and they say it has outlived its importance, judging on the fact that it has done its part, and that is why they base themselves to say that it has outlived its importance. They should first understand that affirmative action in itself is a practice or policy of favoring individuals belonging to groups regarded as disadvantaged or discriminated in a form of way. And in this point of view, if you've used the girls as your point of view of saying the 1.5 necessarily as the only place you can think of narrowing it down that affirmative action has outlived its importance, then I beg you to be wrong. But I will still take you with the 1.5. However much the 1.5 has done its part, it has brought up the girls that we wanted, and people are eating the lion's share, as you've said. Yes, that is detrimentally very good, but it shows you that it has not yet outlived its importance. Its value is still needed, because affirmative action does not only end on the girls who have gotten the 1.5. We also have veterans and individuals like the ones who are disabled who still need these affirmative actions, because none of us take into account of these disabled people and how they may be needed to partake in the institutions, to partake in the education sectors, and to partake in any other kind of thing. And that is why we need affirmative actions to still occur and take into regard. We agree to the fact that yes, we put the 1.5 weight, and the girls have enjoyed that thing, and they are still enjoying it. We can remove it from the girls. We can remove it from them and let them undergo the kind of share that you want. Yes, it's possible. You can do that, but it shows you that we still need it for the other people. We still need it for the disabled kind of. You still need it for the veterans. We still need it for the individuals. We still need it also for the other girls that are in the village. Not necessarily for the 1.5, but we also need it for like girls who have attained that 1.5 and have already done their ability. Now they need to go into institutions and government offices and other offices, and they need to get job sites. The affirmative action gives you the ability that at least if you're in office, at least there has to be a lady or a gentleman or a person that is disabled that is supposed to be your pastime that is supposed to be within what? That kind of it's supposed to be within that kind of category. It shows you that affirmative action, however much it has done its part for the ladies, it still has more other people to work upon. It doesn't necessarily end on the ladies on 1.5. It also has other people to work upon. It also shows you that, and the advantage of it has showed you that you've had like Speaker Rebecca Kadaga, who also used affirmative, because affirmative action also shows you that in each and every institution, at least there has to be a lady. As long as it's government or anything, it shows you that there has to be a lady. Now, it also means that the ladies have done their work. It has uplifted the ladies. Now let us look for these others that are still lacking, and shows you it has not yet outlived its purpose. It still has to pursue its purpose to bring up now those disabled to also be part of what? The community that we are living them, because we have all forgotten that the disabled people are part of the affirmative action, and that is the people that we are majorly showing off, the people that we are majorly sticking to, and we need to advert affirmative action. That means it hasn't outlived its importance. It has outlived the importance for the ladies, and the 1.5 that you've said, it has outlived it, and it has done its purpose. It shows you that it has done its purpose and outlived it, but it's not yet going to be taken off because it has other people it has to undergo with and take a part with. With that, I rest my case. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'll begin my speech in 3, 2, 1. I'm really surprised by the speaker who is from here and is claiming about the 1.5 weights that they add to girls and whatsoever. I want to first tell you, and bringing about the disabilities. Let's talk about disabilities next time. Today we are talking about girl child, please. Let these other topics be brought up next time. We are talking about girl child and gender based. And we want to also say that as a matter of fact, if we look into the affirmative action, it was about bringing girl child to school. And we are standing as the government saying that this 1.5 has brought up the girls so far that it could bring up on board. Let's look into other things that can also help the girls that have not made it to school because of this 1.5. We see this 1.5 weight, they come up to campus. How about the girls that are back there? Are they going to be brought about by that fact that there is 1.5 weights that are being added at the university? We've seen people that have not managed to put up their own education. How will they keep it up on point until they make it to that 1.5 weights? And therefore, we are saying that affirmative action has so far managed to bring up what it has brought about, and it is now high time we looked about other things that can also bring about impotence. That is whereby we are talking about the mentors that can talk to the girls, the girl child. We are looking at human activists, and we are looking at civic societies. That is whereby we talk about human groups, the governments who can help and educate and talk to the girl child instead of bringing about the affirmative act that we have seen that has so far managed to attain what it was brought in place to do. And it is now time that we looked into other things that can also bring up things that can help and bring up girl child, because we believe that by the time that the girls get to know about the human rights, by the time that the government steps in and gets to know what they should give to their girls and how best it can be, the affirmative action will have so far lived of the impotence, and it would be no more of impotence as the situation, as the resolution states. And that is whereby we say, as the government, that with the other factors that come up, we are choosing the girl child since they are, we are choosing the girl child since they can now fight on the same grounds with the other groups. And that is why we are saying that even though we leave the 1.5 weights right now, we can stand up and say that girls can still fight on the same grounds as the men are doing. Because we believe by the time we are saying that we are putting up, I will take that later, by the time we are saying that we are putting up 1.5 weights, we are making the girl child look inferior in the first place. And that means that by the time we make the girl child look inferior, it is going to make this person, it is going to make us keep seeing ourselves, the girl child, that we are inferior, and therefore for that case, therefore, we need this affirmative action to keep in place. And we are saying that so far so good, where the affirmative action has taken us, it is perfectly fine this time around. Let us also stand up. Let us look into other factors and other fields that can help us and lift up the girl child, and live about the affirmative action that is still in place. I would like to also conclude by saying, when we look into the affirmative action that we are having in place and how so far it has brought us, when we look into other fields, we will therefore be able to attain the better and quality gender-based thing than looking onto the affirmative action only. I beg to rest my case.
Case resolved. First of all, what is affirmative action? Affirmative action, it's a policy aimed at increasing almost the workplaces, the education opportunities for the people who are under-respected, underestimated, or underweighed in the various aspects of life or in the society. I'd like to give you that information because you missed to give it to us. So in that very way, we agree on 1.5, and we also know that. Give a case where they have been showing us whereby in a class having only one science student who is a girl child, you may find that has been even brought up by affirmative action, being given 1 point. Given 1 point, which is added to the one. So we agree there is, if it's that guy is not given, because there is no affirmative action. So we believe or we still think that it is still needed. Because if there is that affirmative action where a guy is given 1.5, So we believe that that can uplift the levels of education, and we are more going to have a lot of girls who are going to attain that kind of education. So, and again, we are saying that we are not also basing our case only on that, saying on the level of education. Affirmative action, whereby we are saying that various organizations take the POI in the last 15 seconds. So we are also saying that the other group, which my current speaker was saying, we have the disabled, of which also those girls are also included in that affirmative action of the disabled. We believe that those organizations, whereby even when they come, even to incur, whereby we have seen various organizations trying to uplift all such kind of levels of girls in those, but basing on the fact of the affirmative action. So if we still have that government which says that in the 15 seconds. So I'm saying that if we still have that government which still believes that where the case of such kind of people who are disabled, who are in need, it's no longer of no importance, whereby we are not going even to still have all other organizations which are incurring or basing on this very fact of affirmative action to give us support. So we can't say that the government should still stand. So we are saying that also bringing you other importance, which we still believe that affirmative action as a case is still needed, because it brings equal power child of which we are trying now to empower in this very time. It also brings our nation closer to the ideas of new change. This is whereby these people who have been empowered, you find that if you have even passed through such kind of a situation and you have been touched by someone else. So if you are empowered and you are uplifted, you're going to develop that heart of touching on another person. As what? So that you can uplift that level. So as the opening government, we so believe that affirmative action is still of importance and is still be needed for this country and for the entire world to still run. So I'm saying, pardon your question. Yeah. So if you have said that, do I believe those members who have been touched can mentor others? It's like as if you are supporting what we are even trying to do.
Beginning 1, 2, 3. This house believes that affirmative action has outlived its importance. But does the opening opposition understand this today's motion? To understand more on what affirmative action means in relation to what the opening government has said, I believe that it's a policy initiative in which a person's nationality, sex, religion, and caste are taken into account by a company or government. But has it really lived to its standards? That's what we are trying to analyze. The motion generally means that has the affirmative action. The motion generally means that affirmative action has become meaningless more than the reason it was put. This brings me to the point that the 1.5 weight that they were all arguing about is that how about the people that are not working for it? How about the boys? How are they feeling in their own capacities? We are also looking at we can also, as the government, regulate the affirmative action. When something has been put, we can't just remove it that easily. We just have to first regulate it. It's being used for the time being. We have to look at its time frame, and they choose to work for less because they think they have the 1.5 weights, and they have relaxed, and we have seen decline in the female at the national level. We also look at the 4 weights that are given to each and everyone in in sports. When you participate in sports at national level, you are given those 4 points when you sit for your name. How about the boys who have the four weights and the girls have the 4 weights, plus girls have the 1.5 weights? Is that fair? Is that equality? That is not fair in any way. Then we also, the opening opposition came and talked about disabled people. Disabled people have scholarships. They don't need weights. Or do they need anything like affirmative action? They have scholarships, and also the other people have scholarships. Everyone can apply for a scholarship. There are times when the disabled people also misuse the opportunities that are given to them. Sit on it, please. Also, it also fights, as one of the opening government or prime ministers said, that it also fights grounds of inequality. When you look at boys are also people. They're also students. They're also children. They need to be favored. They also have ambitions and reasons. That's why they're at school. They also have to be favored. In that way, I don't see why the affirmative action should stay in place. I rest my case.
It's my pleasure to begin, and before I begin, I will only allow one POI in which I will appoint you at my own time of interest, and it will be strictly from one lady, you. So I will begin in just 3, 2, 1. Judges, the entire opening house do not understand what affirmative action is. They only draw attention to the female students, but that is not. However, the female students are part of the affirmative action. Now I bring you a clear definition of the affirmative action. The affirmative action are a set of procedures designed to eliminate the unlawful discrimination among the marginalized groups. And these marginalized groups include the girl child who you claim, yes. It includes the women. It includes the lame who are there in the village, and other groups of people who are discriminated. Now, what are these forms of support given to them? The 1.5 points you're talking of is one of them. We are having other academic institutions that increase their participation in schools, not just the 1.5 programs. Now, how are we going to foster this? We are going to foster it through training programs. Like we organize and say, we are going to have a skills program to train the young mothers who are there in the villages without any income levels, such that we foster their income sustainability and they have the capacity to look after their abandoned children. I'll pick you at my own interest. I said that. Rest. Another way we are going to support this is through effective outreaches to the communities to educate them about their rights, because people's rights have been infringed on. Come with your POI. We are not debating the theme. The theme is there to guide us, but we are debating the motion. The theme guides us in line with the motion. So here we are debating the motion. Affirmative action. What does affirmative action mean? I described it. I said we shall have outreaches to communities to educate them about their rights. A marginalized group is not supposed to be infringed on, so we shall educate them. What are the privileges we are going to benefit after this? We are going to have a sustainable income generating community in which all the people, no matter of their status, can participate in activities that generate income in the economy, thereby increasing the GDP of our economy. We shall have perfect participation in leadership and thereby boosting their leadership skills at all levels. We shall also have diversification parts of the society, such that in this, I talk of the parts of society as those groups, different groups of the people, talk of the girls, talk of the youth, talk of the young mothers, talk of the lame, such that all of them will be fostered and will be at the same level of activities and can generate income in the economy. I beg to submit.
The Paramount Panel of Judges, Team Government, Team Opposition, and the August House. I would love to take this pleasure to first welcome each and everyone in the August House. First and foremost, we would love to understand very well today's motion before we go any further. This House believes that affirmative action has outlived its importance. We as the team government, we really believe that it has outlived. It has provided the following important things to the country. Ladies have been able to attain high positions. And for the case of the team opposition, I would love to correct you on this one. We are not here to raise the voice, leaving the points behind, but I have come here with very good points as to why it has outlived and we still need it, this affirmative action. Ladies and gentlemen, I would love that you first listen and afterwards, I will not be so much rigid. I will pick any point of information that will be raised. Ladies and gentlemen, very many people have looked at 1.5 to be the problem, but this is not the case. Something, when it outlives, it bears fruits. So, which means you have seen the fruits of the 1.5, which you have been rotating about. And in our today's debate, I would like to see the impact that this outlived affirmative action has caused on the ground. Ladies and gentlemen, I have not heard anyone talking about the impacts on the ground being brought about by the affirmative action. But to me, I have said that ladies have been able to fail to raise the points and the affirmative action have helped them. And we as the team government, we clearly believe that when something lives longer, it becomes very, I'm now trying to explain the importance. Then I will show you a way forward. Our way forward is that now the affirmative action being outlived for longer, we are now regulating it. We as the team government, we are coming up with the regulation where we shall monitor the way they said that the affirmative action is given to the people who are vulnerable. And now the vulnerable, we have seen that this outlived affirmative action has lost the meaning. But now we have come up to regulate. This will bring to our mind that everything must be regulated. We can see too much of anything is always bad. We are not supposed that we should all have Islam ban, but our resolution as our team government, we shall regulate, but we shall not have Islam ban. I would like to take a point of information, excuse me, sir. Have any leveled ground where we cannot support people who are not able to make it. There are people who are there in the community, we need to support them, and after supporting them, they will help us. Because if you are living with someone and you fail to support, it means that you are creating a problem in your society. You cannot survive alone when you are not having people to be around with you. I rest my case.
If or I
just raise up your hand. Don't shout. I'll pick you when I want. I'll begin. Someone was taking us to the theme, forgetting to know that the marginalized group of people include girl, child, and women. So I'm still asking myself, if he's challenging us that women are not part of the deal, so who is a girl child? Are they not in the same class? Someone is just from here, from the government, telling us that they're having measures, but I've not even had any single measure that they are going to employ to achieve what they are looking for. As team closing opposition, we are saying that affirmative action has not outlived its importance because of the following. Before the affirmative action came into place, we had high rates of school dropout. But since it came, it has encouraged more girl children to join schools and remain in school. Someone was telling us that it has encouraged laziness. I'm still asking myself, how has it encouraged laziness? Yet it has encouraged more girls to join schools, remain in school, concentrate on their academics, and achieve big. As a team closing opposition, we are saying affirmative action has not outlived its importance. However, we can improve it by different methods. We can do follow-ups to see its effectiveness by setting strict policies and strong stakeholders. For example, we can use political leaders, we can use head teachers of different schools to make the importance of this affirmative action very important. We are looking at empowering women. We are not only looking at the girl child as how the government came here and told us, but we are looking at how can we empower women? How can we make the affirmative action effective in this? As closing opposition, we are saying to make it more effective, let us empower women by providing them what they have. We have women who are going through a lot of challenges, poverty and the likes, the widows and others who fall in the class of the marginalized group. So at the closing government, at the closing opposition, we are saying, let us empower these ladies by supporting them financially, by supporting them in different organizations that they have made, such that this becomes effective as how we are planning it to be. I will take your POI. Okay. Unless you have not followed me very well, but to tell you the truth, you cannot achieve it when you have not used the affirmative action. You have to employ this because it is very, first and foremost, we are talking about the marginalized group of people. And the marginalized group of people, the government may not be aware of them. So we are saying now, we can employ these ones by setting strict policies that can make everything that we want to achieve in this effective. Thank you so much. I'd like to submit.
Thank you so much. Can you guys hear me? Thank you so much for the debate. This is a silent round. So we're not giving you feedback.
Okay, we are going in for now the finals. We are all waiting for other participants in other rounds to come and join us. And the long-awaited moment is finally here. Otherwise, I'd like to congratulate everyone upon participating in the 3 rounds. And also the mighty women who have been in this tournament. This tournament is a moment to assign to celebrate all women in the country, not only in the country, but also in the university. So we appreciate so much. And as we are waiting for judges to deliberate and submit their ballots, I would want to congratulate the debaters. You're all winners. I told you from the beginning that in debate, we either win or learn. Other than that, I'd like to take a break, and the DJ should be giving us some music as we are preparing the podium for finals. Thank you. can start off the ceremony. Judges, if you haven't submitted your ballot, it's high time you submit. Judges, participants, it's high time we prepare for the finals. As the participants in the various rounds, you're praying and fasting to break through. Participants, judges, wherever you are, it's high time for the finals. Judges, all participants, I'm making a roll call at exactly 6:05. So we only have 3 minutes and we begin the roll call. Participants occupy the front seats. Participants occupy the front seats. If you're a participant, occupy the front seats. Judges, submit your ballots as soon as possible. As I'm getting feedback from the participants, how was the entire tournament so far? Share your challenges, experiences, good or bad feedback. Participants, your experience throughout the tournament as we prepare for the finals. Any honest opinion? Participants, yes? Did it burn you or you're the one who was causing the fire? Because there's a difference. You may watch the fire or you're the one who set the fire up. Any other experience, participants? Any other experience throughout the entire tournament? Participants, as we are waiting for judges and other people that are in other rounds, how was the experience? Judges? Debaters, how was the experience? Yes? Clap for him, surely. Clap for him. I think let me share a small experience. I think when I started debating, I think I was in year 1. I think I'd gone to debate for UDA at Mobs University. And I was very, very plain. The first round I was given a 4th. The next one was a 4th. And another one was a 4th. And of course, being an inquisitive debater, it discouraged me. Like I was like, I think it's my game, like it's done. But in debate is that every time when you close your ears and say, I've lost it on, I cannot continue, there's more courage to know why you lost. If it's a bad case, if it's a raw burden, or it's a motion interpretation, there are things that you need to focus when you're debating on. Most people become more inquisitive and forget what specifically. Most people forget specifically what is required of them or what they're supposed to be doing. As a retired debater, I would want to encourage most debaters who are joining the circuit. One, the people that you're seeing in this field, Priska, Helen, Mercy, all these people didn't begin the way you're seeing them. It was continuous practice and practice. You're going around, they bang you, you bang them. It's just consistency. Just like the person who made a bulb, he had to try almost 700 times to make it perfect. So debate is a craft, it's an art. You need to understand. You need to understand who's my teammates. Are they good in opening or they are good in closing? Sometimes I've been in rooms and I'm like, how I wish this person would have spoken first and the other one comes last. Another thing is that most debaters don't listen to their opponent's arguments. When the opponents are speaking, on the floor, they are busy, distracted, cooking on what they speak. Most of the time, I always use a similar word, that silent and listen use the same words. It's not a coincidence, but it's one has to happen after the other. If you want to be silent, you must first listen. So in a debate room or in a debate round, if you're the opening government, you have the mantra to state the flow, or you have the courage to give guidance to the debate. And you must, like Edgar was telling in the morning, you must know what is your role burden. Because in BP, it's all about technicalities. Don't say Judge Mercy or Summary or Priska or Prosper are biased about me. Do your craft well. Complaints can come later. Because even though a judge is biased, what is good is going to be appreciated. And that judge cannot judge the whole entire tournament. At least I believe some of you have 2 different judges. If you've ranked 4th in every round, in every room, surely, which kind of luck is that? I would also want to tap on that. But specifically, it's every time when we lose, we close our ears. Yet we should widen them up and focus on the arguments on the floor. So as we proceed forward, those who are lucky not to face the fire on the finals should just be thankful, because it's going to be hot, very hot, like people are complaining of the fire. But don't give up the shield. So I'd want to just welcome Priska to speak a few things. There's a tournament called the ELPAL tournament. Specifically, it's a female-led tournament. So far, this is the 3rd edition. The first edition was at MOBS. Then the second edition was at Chambogo. Now, we believe that the circuit, or the debate circuit of the past years, has been mostly influenced or dominated by the male sector. Having discussed the affirmative action, we also need to do the affirmative action in debate, and that's why ELPAL comes in. So I would want to give Priska strictly 3 minutes to speak about the ELPAL tournament that is happening in a month, as she will mention, and then we can be waiting for others. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can I be heard? You guys can hear me? Thank you so much, Andrew. Thank you so much, the leadership of the Must Debate Union. I don't know if they're in the room, but wherever you are, we are pleased that you invited us from our different places of work, universities, to come here. We don't take it for granted. Oh, I was given 3 minutes. So about ELPAL, I am on the organizing committee of the ELPAL. It's a women's tournament that, the debate world, for us who are very passionate about speech, it has highly been dominated by men. You find in a tournament, like a major tournament, top 10 speakers are all male. If we have female, there will be like 2. So many students who are in universities, girls, have a lot of limitations that have limited them to get out of their shells and speak better and make their voices put out the sound in the world. So that was on the foundation where ELPAL was started, to empower more girls to come up, because many debaters, many of us here that you see us, in the next few years you're going to find us in positions of leadership, because we have been mentored to speak up. We have been mentored to see the challenges in our community and not just sit on them, but to say something. So it is a platform that is mentoring so many young people. Mentors that mentored me into debate right now are the people who are in positions of power in the civil society space and different positions of leadership. The debate circuit of the country has also mentored so many leaders who right now are MPs and they are youth leaders in different capacities.
watching a Hit TV, empowering you. You're 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 watching a Hit